Don't rush.
The passenger ship from Liyue that we're supposed to meet should be arriving soon. Let's go to the docks. You know that Xingqiu will be on board, right? So we should be careful not to say anything about the stolen novels. You must be visiting from Liyue to participate in the Iridori Festival. We'll be your guides, and we'll take you onto the island. Huh? Is it Paimon, or have we met somewhere before?
Yes, in fact we have. I'm Xu from Feiyun Commerce Guild. Aboard this ship we have calligraphers, painters, and even players of Theater Mechanicus. The inventor of Theater Mechanicus previously came to the Feiyun Commerce Guild seeking investment. Although the guild manager was not interested, we heard that they'd be demonstrating the game and letting people try Theater Mechanicus at the Iridori Festival. So the guild manager instructed Master and I to take the opportunity.
Oh, speaking of which, where's the...
Master, he's,
Whoa! Xingqiu's just sitting...
Oh. It's the Traveler in Paimon. I presume you're guests in Inazuma as well? It seems fate has destined our paths to cross.
Oh, we aren't actually guests. We're actually guides for the Iridori Festival.
Please, no need to worry. I was a little too caught up in a novel on the voyage here. When I finally realized what time it was... yes, now that we've arrived, the Kanjo Commission will likely wish to inspect... Huh? That's odd. There was a piece of paper underneath my bag. Strange.
Ooh, let Paimon have a look! Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's from the same series as the story we found before! Even the handwriting looks exact...
The story you found before?
Oh, yeah! In the warehouse down, by the poem hunt! Yeah, that's it! A friend of ours is on Rito to paint portraits of the 5 Kasen. You know, as part of the Iridori Festival. Poetic stories about the If you can find one of the stories and give it to this friend of ours, then...
Wait a moment. So you mean that...
Hey! It's hard coming up with stuff on the...
There's a chance of meeting Calx in person?
Huh? Oh!
Really? That's wonderful! I knew that Calx would attend the Irodori Festival, but convincing my father to let me come to Inazuma was proving to be quite the high hurdle. Just a few days later, word then came that Calx would be busy painting portraits of the 5 Kasen during the festival. It is a most rare opportunity for both Calx and I to be in Inazuma together, but it seemed he would be too busy with the portraits to meet.
Don't worry, Xingqiu. Even though Calx has work to do, he still has time to see friends. Also, we heard that Calx did illustrations for your A Legend of Sword novel.
So you've already heard. To be honest, my works have drawn little interest in Liyue. However, the novels are selling quite well in Inazuma with the help of Calx's beautiful... Calx is not only a skilled artist, but he also carries out his craft with great alacrity. But when I looked at the art, the brushwork did not even look the Oh my! I was beginning to get carried away there. Let us depart. Quickly now.
Luckily, the idea of meeting Albedo managed to draw Xingqiu's attention and keep the situation under wraps.
Traveler, Paimon, how are you? And who...
You must be Calx. It's a great pleasure to find... forgive me. It's rude of me to introduce myself by my pen name when meeting in person. Please, Call me Xingqiu.
And you may call me Albedo, then.
No.
Why not? Seeing as we're both friends of the Traveler, it'd be more convenient for us to use... Besides, we've already corresponded with each other many times before. In fact, I feel a...
It's not just you, Albedo. We haven't seen Shinjo act this awkward before.
You guys, it's certainly not... Oh, by the way, we happened to find a story from the poem hunt competition.
You know, that thing where we have to find pieces of paper with stories of the 5 Kasen? Venti found one, and then he was a...
Huh? Oh, I understand the story now. Thank you.
Splendid. Though, I'm still piecing together the story.
If all of you are free, why don't we discuss this over a meal?
Well, about...
Do you have other plans, Shinjo?
No, not at all. Speaking of dining, Shimura's unagi chasuke is quite delicious. Would you like to...
Shimura's. Unfortunately, today is a bit...
That's perfectly fine with me. But I must first unpack...
Something didn't quite add up.
Huh? No way! Paimon thinks we acted well together.
No, Paimon, I'm not referring to us. Traveler, what are your...
Huh? Shinjo's suspicious? Hey, what are you two talking about?
Paimon, you read the poem, right? Although it may seem confusing to Xingqiu on its own, what if we read it together with the previous...
Read them together? Suiko lost Aoi no Okina's poem in a drunken stupor. So, Aoi no Okina recovered the poem and gave it to some mysterious person. Huh? Wait a minute. Could today's story be hinting that the one who stole the latest copies of A Legend of Sword is Shinjo himself? No way! That can't be right! Shinjo only arrived in Inazuma
And that is precisely the point of suspicion. If Xingqiu had only just arrived in Inazuma, how could he recommend Shimura's... Moreover, he didn't raise any questions when I suggested another place because of the windy weather. This means he knows that Shimura...
Are you saying that Shinjo has already been in?
Yes, that is indeed my...
But how could Shinjo be the book thief? His mission is to fight for justice, isn't it?
Calm down, Paimon. Even though this is the first time I've met Xingqiu in person, we've communicated via letters for some... I think there must be some deeper motive at play here. The story also tells us that Aoi no Okina flees with a poem because of a threat.
Oh? Could Shinjo be in danger?
It's difficult to say at this point. But given that Uyu Restaurant is indoors, it'll be easy. I'll be relying on your assistance to get to the bottom of the... Good. Then let's head to Uyu Restaurant.
Enjoy the blessing of Lord Kusanali. An Asian blessing, now 10% off.
I don't see anyone suspicious around. It seems clear for the moment. Let's go inside and wait for Xingqiu.
Oh, this whole thing's starting to make Paimon a little nervous. What do we do?
First, we must ascertain whether Xingqiu was already in Inazuma or not. If we can find evidence of him deceiving us, since we're still waiting for him, why don't you go and chat with other guests in the restaurant and...
Hello there. What can I get for you?
Hi! Do you have any special recommendations today?
Why, of course. I personally recommend our freshly caught seafood. It's been pouring these past 2 days, so the fishing boats haven't been able to sail.
So the weather at sea.
It sure has. A few guests from Liyue were just telling me that their boat was heaving and rolling all the way here. They couldn't do anything.
Oh, this might be some useful...
The last phase of the Irodori Festival is when they release the all-new publications.
That's right. A signed first edition is going to become quite the collectible. I've got to get my...
I've seen Jen use signature before. His handwriting is super neat. He must be really diligent about his style.
He'll be there in person on the day of the release, so we'll get a good look at him then.
Wait a minute. Did you just hear that? Not only will Shincho be signing novels at the release, but his handwriting is... Albedo, what should we talk about when Shincho gets...
If he really is hiding something, then he might feel even more nervous than we do.
Oh, come to think of it, Shincho mentioned that he'd like to thank you for finishing the illustrations on time. He said they looked amazing.
Is that so?
That was delicious. Inazuman cuisine largely consists of fresh seafood, which is certainly to my liking.
That's good. We were worried you might not have an appetite because you didn't sleep well. Now's our chance. Let's talk to Shincho and see if he says it. Maybe we could start by asking him. By the way, Shincho.
Oh, I was reading a novel called Pretty Please Kitsune Guji. It was sent to me by my editor.
Didn't you feel dizzy while reading?
It was nothing I couldn't handle. Don't forget, I'm proficient in the arts of the Guhua clan. That being said, there were quite a few people aboard who felt seasick.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any...
To be honest, there wasn't much to see. Just water all around, morning to night. The sheer monotony of the trip caused everyone to grow a little impatient. So, when the peak of Mount Yogo finally appeared in the distance as we approached the islands of Inazuma, everyone crowded the deck to have a... However, the ship sailed along at a crawling pace. It took a whole day from the time we saw...
Paimon didn't catch anything suspicious so far. Oh, right! If it took an entire day to reach...
We learned a couple of things from his account, but we still require more evidence. Let's discuss creating novels with Shincho.
While it is entertaining to read novels, writing one is an endeavor of its own. You must give great thought to every detail, from the layout of the plot to the rhythm of the line. And even when you have come up with interesting content, there's still no guarantee that...
I couldn't agree more. Whether it's writing a book, creating art, or studying alchemy, seldom can you really feel joy after seriously delving into the work.
Shincho and Albedo are getting into some deep topics now.
Speaking of illustrations, Albedo, I've long wished to express my sincerest gratitude for providing the illustration. My novel didn't sell well in Liyue, so I must admit that I had some reservations, yet you've consistently managed to select the most important scene of the chapter for your illustrations. This made me feel as though what I was trying to express could be
Thank you. However, I took some risks in the illustrations, so... Light novel illustrations are typically centered around the characters. But this time, I adopted a different approach in the illustration for the last...
Well, that scene was intended to depict the change in the world, so I thought it very fitting to draw only scenery.
Doesn't sound like anything
No, there was a crack in his alibi. My illustrations were sent for printing the moment they arrived in Inazuma. So logically... Shincho, we have something very important to ask you.
Oh? Why the solemn looks all of a sudden? Huh? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Mr. Okazaki told us earlier that actually the weather at sea was very bad these last few days. So when you said that everyone came running to the deck to see Mount Yogo, that couldn't have happened.
On top of that, the latest installment of A Legend of Sword will only be revealed at the Irodori Festival. Even we, the creators, haven't received a sample copy. If that's the case...
Well...
The Jigs up, Xingqiu. You already any. Are you in some kind of danger but can't tell us the truth?
No, please. I suppose my lack of sleep is inevitably taking its toll on my mind. I didn't notice for a moment that you were I did in fact come to Inazuma early to handle some things. Let me consider how to explain this.
Oh! Well, if this isn't a coincidence.
Huh? Tone-deaf bard, what are you doing here?
I heard that the owner of this establishment has some fine-aged wines. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to taste them.
Paimon knew you couldn't possibly be up to anything good.
Says who? In fact, I come as the bearer. I just bumped into Kujo Sara a moment ago. She said that the Tenryou Commission has apprehended the criminal who stole all those copies of A Legend of Sword.
Huh? The criminal who stole...
Did I say...
Oh no. The person they apprehended. Was it by chance an editor named Onodera?
Apologies, Kujo Sara didn't mention a name. But I saw her taking someone...
Everyone, it's too late to explain. We must make haste and rescue Ono... Please, wait.
You must be the author of A Legend of Sword.
Anyway, you mustn't take him away.
No need to worry, Zhenyu. I've just explained everything to Madame Kujo, and Kuroda has testified for me.
Yes. In fact, we were just getting ready to leave.
Oh, phew. What a relief. Wait a minute.
Well, to be precise, we had dispatched 2 additional squads here, in order to prevent the suspect
Xingqiu looks pretty flustered. What exactly is going on here?
Though it's most embarrassing, it appears quite a few people are aware of the situation now. In the end, I'm the one responsible for this whole predicament.
No, Zhenyu. It's only appropriate that I take responsibility for this. Everyone, for the Iridori Festival, I recommended the idea of selling newly released novels signed by the authors. Not only was this the first major project I was in charge of since joining the Yae publishing house, but Lady Yae also gave me a lot of support. However, I did not discuss our plans with the authors in advance. As a result...
Yes, to be frank, calligraphy is not my strong point, so signing events are...
Even though such an event will be difficult for Zhenyu, after telling him how important the plans were to me, he immediately boarded a ship to Inazuma to come... So these past few days, Zhenyu has been actively practicing his handwriting. However, it takes time to sign each book, and we realized the time... So I came up with the idea of moving the new books from the warehouse to my place. That way, Zhenyu could use these few days to sign them all. I thought everything would work out without a hitch. I never expected that someone would immediately To make things worse, I was on vacation and staying with Zhenyu in my house these past few days. I had no idea that the situation had... All of this happened because I wanted to prove myself through this event.
Onodera, I agreed to your proposal because I didn't want the readers to know of my Also, I knew that Onodera had been misled by one of my... At a previous event, the Yai Publishing House had requested autographs of author. I practiced tirelessly for an entire day to finally But, looking back on it now, I had dug myself into a hole by...
Hey, come on, you two. Loosen up a little. The theft was nothing more than a simple misunderstanding. Besides, everyone has something that...
Yeah, that's right. All that matters is...
Onodera, I think you should explain the truth regarding the stolen books.
Yes, I understand.
We should probably be heading back to
Onodera, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be on leave these...
I'm very sorry for all the trouble that I've caused.
Yes, Onodera, but why didn't you tell everyone earlier? If you had told us, we could...
That's right. We're a team, and we should be helping each other in tough situations like...
Let's leave the past behind us now. Our first priority is to help Genyu with his signature.
My progress is not what I had hoped for. Even after working through the night these past few days, I've only finished...
Oh, no wonder she...
I understand. Murata, go back to Yai Publishing House and get Aratani to book a room on the second floor of the Uyu restaurant. We'll be using it for Genyu's emergency calligraphy lessons.
Yes, Mr. Hirayama. It just so happens that my brother is a calligrapher.
Yes, good idea. Ah, you've just reminded me. 2 calligraphers from Liyue arrived today.
It seems I'm really in for it now.
No need to worry, Genyu. I'm sure you can do it. Didn't you finish the last chapter of your novel?
Yes, but writing novels and learning calligraphy are 2 entirely different...
Even though Xingqiu still has to deal with his handwriting issue...
I always used to prefer working alone in my workshop. But I've come to realize that solving problems with others...
We also owe a special ode of gratitude to the mysterious person who has been...
Huh? You mean whoever left behind those stories about the 5 Kasen?
Pardon me, but...
Oh, right. We have...
I see. It appears that Onodera and I were spotted when we were moving the books. Albedo, may I ask you one thing? Are you able... Not only do I owe the successful resolution of today's incident to that story, but I also...
No problem. Considering the similarities between the portrait and the...
Check out our fairy tale to request a fanfiction booth.
That figure was none other than Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akahito.
Albedo really is something. He finished the... Wonder how Xingqiu's calligraphy training is going at Uyu Restaurant. Hey, do you think whoever left those stories for us could be hiding some... Oh, hello? Mr. Storywriter? Are you here? He's a friend of ours, and the release of his new book is super important to... Oh, what's that zip? It was just a cat. Looks like we can't make them reveal them. It's getting late now. Well, let's go back and get some rest. We still have to go to the docks and wait for another ship tomorrow morning.